Hey St. I'm Melissa Gums, party leader of the Party for Progress, and welcome to our 2024 to 2028 Manifesto video series under the theme, Fight for the Future, Working Today to Transform Tomorrow. In the coming weeks, you're going to hear from each PFP candidate about the 5 components of our manifesto: financial stability for financial independence, critical infrastructure planning, improving waste management and environmental care, dynamic and progressive education, sensible energy for the climate change reality, and a healthier, stronger St. Martin. In our last manifesto and in Parliament, we've warned against focusing on commercial development over the development of the people. 4 years later though, this remains the reality. We pour in concrete instead of pouring into you, the people, and that remains the norm. This is why the PFP team, in partnership with industry experts, have worked hard to create comprehensive plans that address our island's most complex issues. Every time you spoke, we listened, and your feedback was woven into each and every solution within this manifesto, in line with our continued mantra of improving quality of life for all. This means securing your physical, educational, and mental well-being. We must prioritize what must be done rather than what looks good. PFP intends to safeguard our environment, our ecosystems, and our neighborhoods above all else. Because visitors come and go, but you, your partners, your children, and your grandchildren eat, drink, sleep, swim, and breathe St. Martin every single day. Even though this current governing coalition has tried to piggyback off this concept, it is clear that they failed to do so. For the last 4 years, you've watched them disregard integrity breaches, corruption, gaslight you about the reality facing you and us as a young country, and most importantly, the challenges you face daily. PFP has always been honest and transparent with you, and a part of that is sharing how we intend to govern once given the mandate. So before you hear from Ray, Ludi, Patrice, Lucho, Mavio, Nelly, Rosalinda, Marlon, and David, I want to share with you the PFP deal breakers. Anyone interested in forming a coalition with the Party for Progress should take note. We consider these critical steps that must be taken within 6 months of swearing into government in order to begin repairing the foundation our country is built on. They are the establishment of that pesky LBHAM for financial management, which will mean that tendering has to be transparent and open, a realistic and tangible review of spatial development and our approach to development as a whole, and comprehensive integrity for cabinet and civil service staff. With this inclusive approach to growth and development, we will create a St. Martin where everyone doesn't just survive, they thrive. And why the focus on you? Because we know that strong and happy people will build a stronger and happier St. Martin. True change and growth are painful but necessary. Sometimes the medicine doesn't taste good, but we need it to heal, right? You should demand ownership, leadership, and accountability from your government, regardless of vote counts, egos, and emotions. For 4 years, we have kept the focus on our 2 critical nation-building pillars: people and partnership. You are the people. The Party for Progress will remain your partners. So let's continue on this challenging but fulfilling path as we have so far, together. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and as always, choose progress.
Hey everyone, Patrice Gums here.
And Ludmila the Weaver.
And we're back again.
And this time we want to talk to you about how we will create financial stability for financial independence.
Stop. Y'all know that somehow eggs are even more expensive than the last time we spoke to you?
Exactly, which is why it's important for us to address the cost of living, to support small businesses, and to encourage sustainable economic growth.
We recently read a financial analysis, and one of the terms really stuck with us: price taker.
In that analysis, it spoke about how we, as small islands, have little influence on global prices.
On top of that, we have hurricanes, natural disasters knocking at our door, while also feeling the effects of global conflicts and crises.
These factors impact our people's welfare and our country's ability to achieve fiscal stability and greater economic growth. And to many, it seems hopeless.
But here's the thing, it's not. In our first video, we spoke about our 3-step plan to modernize our financial system: research, implementation, and enforcement. So let's get into it. Here are the steps that a PFP government will take to lessen the burden.
First, we need to figure out how much it costs to live a decent life in St. Martin.
Back in 2019, we campaigned on the importance of establishing the poverty line. This is the first step in developing a comprehensive living wage for St. Martin.
It's obvious that the cost of living on our island does not align with the established minimum wage.
Once the poverty line is established, we can make informed decisions about the living wage.
Under PFP, this wage will be the one that helps St. Martiners provide for their basic needs such as housing, food, transportation, and utilities.
And this is critical for our pensioners.
We want to reimagine the approach to the tax on AOV pension. A PFP government will propose a separate taxable limit for pensioners. At the same time, PFP will implement two different programs. One, a financial literacy program for persons 25 to 55 years old. And two, a research program to identify, develop, and implement a mandatory pension alongside AOV.
So why these two programs? Because it's time we acknowledge the limitations of the current system and take the necessary steps to provide current and future generations with the tools they need to enjoy a decent and prosperous life.
Speaking of decent and prosperous life, who's tired of these high taxes? I thought so. This is why PFP will ensure that ongoing reforms include lowering the tax rates and broadening the tax brackets. And this will put more money in your pocket. And we're not done yet.
For the business community, a PFP government will cut profit tax, which currently stands at 34.5% to 17%.
And this isn't some random number. PFP did the necessary research, and though we would like to offer a 0% profit tax, recent financial regulations make this impossible without additional guarantees. A PFP government will work towards establishing those guarantees.
For small businesses, PFP proposes the following. Businesses that make less than 360,000 gilars a year will be exempt from paying profit tax. Instead, they will pay between 1 and 2.5% of their total revenue to government.
But Patrice, they're done paying 5% TOT.
But Ludi, the deductions, you forget them.
Oh yeah, businesses can deduct 0.5% for donations made to vetted community-focused organizations.
Alongside all these advancements, a PFP government will also introduce policies to support these fiscal changes.
We want to make sure that these proposals are not just cosmetic, but are supported by large investments into the government landscape.
Government is huge, but PFP sees the need for attention in the departments of tourism, ICT, and agriculture, livestock, and fisheries.
Investments in these areas will support our existing economy, promote innovation towards the economy we want, and support the creation of a stronger agricultural sector.
Investing in agriculture means addressing our cost of living. And our proposed changes not only address the cost of living, but also the cost of doing business.
That's what I'm talking about.
Whew, we've said a lot, but financial stability is what will help us to fund the initiative that you will hear about in the upcoming videos from our fellow candidates.
Our commitment is real, so let's do this together. Remember to always choose progress.
You feel that? But yeah, it's hot.
You wanna know why?
Because climate change is real and we've been feeling it.
From the hail in St. Kitts and Nevis to the rising sea levels, to the wildfires across Europe, Canada, and the United States.
It's rough. Even though we in the Caribbean aren't the biggest contributors to climate change, the sad reality is that we are the ones who are impacted the most.
This is why we cannot continue to just talk about sustainable development and climate action. We have to actually do it.
And as always, we have a practical plan on how to.
For years, the Department of Infrastructure within the Ministry of Brahmi has been underperforming, especially in waste and water management.
PFP aims to empower this department by amending the national decree to create a solid waste and water authority and get it up and running.
This will alleviate pressure on the Department of Infrastructure, improving their day-to-day operations.
When it comes to maintaining our infrastructure and protecting our environment, we aren't stopping there.
Our vision is to make St. Martin's physical infrastructure cleaner, safer, and more sustainable for future generations.
And it is achievable through improved urban planning, policy introduction, critical decision-making, enforcement of existing legislation, and awareness campaigns.
Our next step is to establish the St. Martin Road Fund.
You know what this is going to do? Oversee your road tax payments and execute the development of new roads, maintenance of existing ones, and installation of proper road markings, signage, and streetlights on all roads.
Not only do we want to ensure our road infrastructure is up to par so road users can be safe, but we also want to curb air pollution by introducing our Electrify the Road vehicle tax approach.
We remain committed to waiving a percentage of road tax for first-time electric and hybrid vehicle owners.
This will bring us in line with the French side, who will no longer be permitted to sell gas-based vehicles.
As a result of rapid and unplanned development across our island, it is also critical for us to take noise pollution into account.
This is why we plan to revamp the existing national ordinance to regulate neighborhood noise pollution.
Last but not least, we need to manage our waste properly. Since December 2016, the Social Economic Council highlighted that St. Martin generates 9.7 kilograms of daily waste per capita. This is like 3 full gallons of water per household per day.
That's a lot, right? Well, a PFP government will be dedicated to reducing this by properly cooperating with ongoing efforts to complete or begin these initiatives.
Restore the ability and capacity to measure how much waste we generate as a country, establish working protocols with SEMARTE on environmental policies and solid waste management, and improve collaboration with the French side to handle our recyclables.
Our approach to recycling needs to focus on separation, sorting, and transport to our neighbors, while investigating the possibility of collaborating with the French side on the establishment of a shared incinerator for waste management.
And most importantly, establish educational initiatives to inform our community on how to properly dispose of their waste and establish fines for improper disposal.
A part of sustainable development is identifying long-term solutions for waste management.
One of our solutions, which we aim to explore once in government, is liquid waste treatment plants for most populated communities like Belvedere, Middle Region, Defiance, Cahill, and Bel Air.
This would resolve the running gray water issue these residents continuously face.
By introducing these liquid waste treatment plants, we aim to expand this initiative by establishing a research committee to explore incorporating water catchment processing to yield brown water.
This water would be safe for agriculture projects and shared with local farmers for crops to assist them with feasible solutions for placement and financing of plants.
Overall, these plans will help us beautify and maintain our communities and create a sense of pride while improving everyone's quality of life.
That's all for now. Stay tuned for the next installment of our Manifesto Series. And as always, choose progress.
Let's be real. This is the state of education, culture, and heritage on our island. Ow! And it's been this problematic not only for the last 4 years, but for over a decade.
During this time, we have seen an outdated and disorganized approach to integrating STEAM into our educational system.
We're talking declining literacy rates, declining exam rates, and even an overall decline in how much our special needs students are catered to.
A disconnected higher education system that does not prepare students for an evolving job market and limited regard to preservation of our culture and heritage.
The issues we face are complex, but that doesn't mean that solving them is impossible. It requires tough decision-making by the government, participation by parents, as well as self-reflection and critical assessment by the schools, their managers, and their unions.
Our vision for education, culture, and heritage is inclusive.
That means whether you're young or you're old, our goal is to create a population of lifelong learners to ensure that we have a more knowledgeable and engaged population.
How do we plan to do that? Systematically, of course. First, we will assess the skill levels of all educators and provide comprehensive training to expand and improve their tech skills.
Educators with expanded knowledge and technical skills will help push our young people to the next level so they can succeed in this world of advancing technology.
Next, we'll have to assess the STEAM readiness of public educational institutions so that we can collect data and analyze where we are, what has and hasn't been working, and what needs to be set up to continue to move forward.
To make sure change is sustainable, we must establish work groups to draft STEAM-centric curriculums that will prepare students for the current job market. Technology is present in almost every profession today. Whether someone is working as a car mechanic or a nurse, tech literacy is critical to success.
The outcomes presented by the work groups will serve as a basis for engaging with all school boards and STEAM professionals for the implementation of an inclusive curriculum.
The ultimate objective of providing access to programming language learning as early as the 3rd grade. There are many kinds of students in St. Martin, and because of this, we knew that our plan for education had to be as dynamic and multifaceted to ensure that all students were able to secure themselves a robust education.
Since 2019, we've spent time evaluating our approach and our vision for education, especially when it comes to the special needs education. We've consulted with industry professionals, both in St. Martin and abroad, in the fields of special education, autism awareness, and occupational therapy.
We hope to address the gaps in special education in a way that will ensure that special needs students are not separated from their peers, but integrated into our existing educational framework.
Yes, we must admit that a traditional desk in rows and sit down and be quiet routine is not working for our special needs students. Classrooms should be transformed into a learning experience that acknowledges the different learning styles of neurotypical and neurodivergent students.
This includes sensory planning to allow for sensory corners and rooms for students who are often over and underwhelmed while at school. PFP wants to rethink and revamp our primary vocational educational institution, the St. Martin Vocational Training School, to bring it in line with the Caribbean Vocational Qualification, the CVQ concept.
Why the CVQ? It's a competency-based approach to training, assessing, and certifying students. The students gain the occupational standards developed by employers and industry experts within the Caribbean.
CVQ standards are CARICOM approved, allowing certified professionals to move easily within the region, thus expanding economic opportunities for certified St. Martiners. The job market isn't stagnant. It's consistently growing and expanding. Our students and people deserve a system that gets them ready for the future but doesn't limit their imaginations.
Stay tuned for the next installment of our Manifesto series and always choose progress.
What's been all talk and no action? I'm not talking about your DMs. I'm talking about confronting the energy crisis.
The hard truth is that personal agendas have hindered the proper development of an efficient, affordable, and innovative solution to meet our country's energy needs.
This, paired with the continued reliance on fossil fuels to power our homes and cars in the face of overwhelming climate change,
makes us a vulnerable target.
Exactly. Currently, the average regional penetration percent for renewable energy stands at 40%.
St. Martin is at 0.
A PFP government will work towards achieving 20% renewable energy usage within 5 years or less. We believe this is a tangible goal.
We have focused on developing this strategy with the 7th Sustainable Development Goal and the long-term health of our local environment in mind.
First, we will commission a research initiative to investigate the possibility of requiring local fuel providers to import high alcohol content fuels like E85.
What will this do? Fuels with high alcohol content are cleaner and burn less CO2 emissions than regular gasoline.
And most importantly, it would give us all a cheaper price at the pump.
We strongly believe energy transformation and economic development can work hand in hand.
How? By expanding GB's concession, opening up opportunities for investments in our infrastructure, scholarship programs, and many other projects.
This will strengthen GB's position as our primary electricity provider, but it will also lead to direct investments into our community,
allowing us to actually grow and thrive instead of pretending to.
Over the next 3 years, PFP aims to boldly confront our energy challenges by comprehensive grid enhancement, empowering you to generate your own electricity and reduce our dependence on harmful diesel generators.
This will create an empowered community of energy producers, resolve our immediate crisis, and create a sustainable energy landscape.
Our second initiative will be converting the engines at GB from heavy fuel oil to liquefied natural gas.
This will reduce air pollution significantly and lead to substantially lowered electricity and fuel costs.
Now I know what you're thinking. Why talk about switching fuels if we're moving to renewables?
Well, it's critical that the engines keep running while renewable energy projects are being executed.
Because that's how a properly planned project is executed, so that we can take you from the dark to the light.
Stay tuned for the next installment of our Manifesto series, and as always, choose progress.
Marlon, when was the last time you went to the doctor?
I really can't remember.
It's been a minute, huh? I understand.
I think about it a lot. I know so many people that are struggling with their mental health and getting access to proper care.
Same here. I know that in the last manifesto, PFP discussed the need to strengthen our healthcare sector and our existing mental health programs. We focused on the psychological impact of Hurricanes Irma and Maria, especially on our littlest St. Martiners. But then, something happened.
COVID-19. The impact that the pandemic constantly has on our community means close to 30% of our population suffers from post-COVID syndrome, which truly shows the need of examining approach to our healthcare and mental health.
PFP remains committed to revising and updating the moratorium on healthcare professionals, in particular for specializations in dentistry and mental health.
Which is great. But do you know how hard it is to get a dentist appointment nowadays? And don't get me started on finding a therapist.
Exactly. And that's why it is critical to improve general health care by implementing continuing mental education programs. This would ensure that you and your loved ones are receiving the best quality of care possible.
With the best quality of care, PFP is also committed to our next point, promoting and protecting sexual and reproductive health.
That is extremely important. The United Nations SDG 3, Good Health and Well-being, has under its umbrella target 3.7, ensuring universal access to sexual and reproductive healthcare services.
Access to these services is critical to the improvement and sustainability of women's health. As a man and as a father, I've seen the negative results on the lack of education and protection around sexual and reproductive healthcare. A change needs to happen now.
I do have a question though. When last did you do some movements?
Does a walk-up count?
It can. Being an active society means a healthier society.
We must facilitate the NGOs and the MPOs that are focused on community athletics and activity programs in various districts to promote and encourage physical activities among residents.
It's true. We can start by strengthening our sports associations and creating a program to encourage private sector companies to adopt existing sport fields and courts in order to keep them maintained and safe for public use.
Well, I feel inspired to get some movements today. And remember, choose progress.